Hello wonderful people on the internet, it's your boy Papa Django and I'm back with a big banger tutorial. Hey, it's been a while since I recorded a video. I was actually not feeling well and also having some tightness at the workplace, so I had to fall away from recording the videos. But now I've been able to solve most of the issues and I'm feeling a little better now, so I'll be recording now. So let's continue our series where we are building a full stack clone of Udemy using Django Restframework, NextJS and PostgreSQL. Okay, so if you have not checked out the other videos, the previous one, please kindly check out. We have done most of the back end, and in this video we are going to completely end the back end. Then in the next video I start with the front end, which is the NextJS. Okay, so if you haven't watched it, please watch it. I'm going to link it up here so that you can just have access to it, and I'm also going to leave a link to the playlist inside the description below. All right, so let's jump into it. So I've opened the where we ended inside my text editor, my code editor, which is Visual Studio Code. We completed most of the courses endpoints that are going to handle the getting of the courses, which is what's the name? Getting the detail of a course, the basic CRUD, then watching of courses and other stuff. So we have done all that in the previous video. So if you haven't done that, please kindly watch it. Okay, and in this video we are going to focus on the payment system, which is Stripe, and the authentication system, which is going to be we are going to use a package called Jwt. All right, so we are going to create a new app that is going to handle the authentication flow. So we are going to start a new app. So Python 3. Sorry, manage your UI first. It's been a while, so I might forget some of the stuff. Start up, then we give it a name, payments. Okay, so let's wait for it to create the app for us. Okay, so it creates the app for us, payment, so you can see it over here. So we can close down our terminal. Now let's go into it. So we are going to start from the model. So this is how you are going to plan our database. So you are going to have a class or a model that is going to be payment intent, called payment intent. Okay, so it's going to inherit from models dot model. Let's pass for the meantime. It's supposed to be a small c, right? Then you're going to have another class called payment itself. If I can spell payments well, it's also going to inherit from models dot model. Okay, then let's pass. Okay, so this payment intent is going to, as the name says, is going to hold the intent of somebody trying to purchase a course, and this payment is going to hold the logic after a payment has been successfully been completed, and you have received a webhook notification from Stripe. All right, so inside the payment intent model, you are going to have a field called payment intent ID. Okay, so that one is going to be models of child field, and you are going to get that when when you create the payments, process, when you start the payment process, you get a payment intent, so we can store it at the back end. So sorry, I'm supposed to provide a max length. Let's use 225. Then the next thing that we need is a checkout ID. That's also going to be a models.char field. Also going to be a max length 225. All right. Then you're going to have a user. Okay, so I will know which particular user is purchasing the course. Okay, so that one is going to be a foreign key. So models.foreign key. What is the foreign key? Then it's going to be to the user. So we need to go import in the user. So from what's the name? User, from users dot model import user. All right, but we have to specify an on delete. Which we are going to use models.cascade. Models.cascade. Then we are going to have the courses which the person intended to purchase. All right, it will be a models dot many to many field. Okay, and it's going to be to courses. Okay, so it will be auto imported for me. All right, then the final thing is that we need a created. You need to check when it was created. Okay, so going to be models dot datetime field. Then I'm going to give it an auto now created, auto now out, sorry, true, so that the moment it is created, it populates this one for us with the current time. Okay, so with the for the payments part, we are going to need this field, payments ID, the payments intent. So it's going to be a foreign key, model.foreign key, and the foreign key is going to be to payment intent. Okay, and with the on delete. So the on delete, you have your own preference. It can be set to null, or depending on your company policy or your strategy that you are using, you can use a set to null or cascade. Okay, or prevent it totally from cascade or from deleting. Okay, that one depends on you, but I am choosing cascade so that when the intent is deleted, the payment also goes away, which is not actually the best, but it works for me, so I'm fine. And you are going to store the total amount that has been paid, and now we are going to use the decimal field. So models dot decimal field. All right, and you are going to set a max digit. A max digit of 7 and a decimal place of 2. type in decimal place of 2. All right, then the last thing that we need is the created, which is going to be models.data in field auto now add true. Right. All right, so these are the two models that are going to handle our payment system. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to jump into our views, then write our payment handler and the webhook. Okay, so let's start. So the first thing that I'm going to write is a payment handler. So that one is what is going to handle the payment. It creates the checkout URL, then it sends it back to the front end for the person to be redirected to Stripe. Okay, so let's start. So we need some things to be able to use what's the name, to use Stripe. Okay, so first you need to what's the name, install Stripe. So pip install Stripe. I've already done that. Pip install Stripe like this. Just go ahead and hit enter. I've already done that, so I won't do that again. Okay, then the next thing that you need is an API key, Stripe API key, and an endpoint secret. Okay, the endpoint secret, we will find a way of generating it, but now we need, what's the name, we need the API key. Sorry guys. So when you log in into Stripe, if there's that, like you log in into Stripe, you scroll down, you can see over here, you see this thing over here, the API key. You click on it to reveal it, then you grab it or you copy it. Okay, so first you are going to create some constants over here. You are going to create a constant called Stripe API key. So this is where you are going to populate your what's the name, the Stripe API key, but I'm going to show you a safer way to do it. All right, then you're going to have an endpoint secret, which I'm going to show you later how to get that one. Okay, like this. So with a Stripe API key, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a .env file. What's the name? Yes, .env, like this. Then you're going to start like the export Stripe API key. Then this is where you put your API key goes here. Okay, please note there are no spaces between these two things. Equals to, then you populate your Stripe API key over here. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do mine later. All right, so from here you are going to first import. You're going to import OS. Then you are going to use os.environ.get. Sorry. .get, then you copy the name that you use for the environment. This one, the Stripe API key, same thing, then populate it over here as a string like this. So Django will fetch it from our environment variables. All right, so let's continue. So with that one done, now we can go ahead. So we are going to have a class called payment handler. Okay, so it's going to inherit from API view. So you have to import in API view. So from REST framework dot views, import API view. All right, with that one done, let's go ahead. So first you are going to have one method called posts, or the post method. You are going to accept in self and request, no arguments. Then you are going to check if the request has a body. Okay, because you are going to use the body to create the checkout URL. So depending on the body that we get, so the body will contain a string of IDs, then or IDs for courses. Then we take those IDs, loop over them, then use it to get the particular prices of all the courses, combine them, and use it to create the amount that is supposed to be paid by the user. Okay, so first you are going to make it a JSON. So if you are going to start with loading it as JSON load, then we pass the request dot body. All right, so let's import in JSON. All right, then after that we're going to check if the body, if there is a body, it's not an empty list, and the body also contains items in it, or it's not none, or something like that. Okay, all right, then you are going to get courses underscore line, course line to item, course line items. Then first set it to an empty list. Then create another list again called cat courses. Okay, or cat course. Okay, then we are going to run a for loop. So for items in body, we are going to do a try cat statement. So I use this shortcut of mine, delete it, then come up here again. All right, so you're going to do a courses into brackets, courses. Oh no, I think we'll have to go importing the course. Okay, so let's import in course. Import. Oh, I thought it's JavaScript. I've been doing a lot of JavaScript these days, and it's overriding my Python knowledge. From what's the name? Oh, why this laptop? From courses dot, why can't I get what I want? Dot models, import course. Okay, so we are going to use, so the reason why we are using the try catch is because you are going to use courses.objects.get, and the get throws an exception if no object, no course is seen with that particular ID or the filter that is passed to it. So you are going to use the course UUID to filter, so it's supposed to be equal to the item. But if it doesn't find it, it's going to throw an exception called the course dot does not exist like this. Okay, which is provided by default by Django for every model. So this is supposed to be item, not items. All right, then we are going to create a line item. So a line item is an object that contains some prices that are needed by Stripe to do the calculation for us. Okay, so a line item is going to be, first thing it needs is the price data. Okay, price data, and first it needs the currency. It needs the currency, which we are using the USD by default. Okay, then the next thing that we need is the unit price, or the unit amount, sorry, the unit amount instead, which is supposed to be an integer. Okay, so let me open up the courses model for you so that you'll be able to appreciate what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the courses model. Let me scroll up. Okay, so this is the courses model. So you see we have the prices stored on it, and you have the course UUID over here. So this is what you use to find out the particular course. So you can see it's unique for every model, so it's a good thing to use to do the filtering. So you're going to get the price. So first you're going to make it an integer, and where is it? You're going to make it an integer. Okay, so one thing that might cross your mind is that why make it an integer? Because it is being stored here as a decimal field, so that we'll be able to get the pennies and the coins. I don't know, the cents, that's what it's called in the US, the cents. So if you are converting it to an integer, that means that you are casting away the cents that are being stored with it. No, because the units amount that Stripe needs is in cents. So first thing is that we are going to get the price. We are going to get a price. So course, this thing here is supposed to be course, not courses, because it's returned just one. So course dot price, then we multiply it by 100. That is going to give us the total in cents. Then we'll be able to pass it as an integer for the Stripe line item. Okay, so when you are done with those two things, the next thing that Stripe need is, what's the name? The product data, some few product data, and in the product data you can check the documentation and see the other things or the other argument that can be passed to this line item, but these few things work out for me, and I'm going to leave the documentation the documentation inside the description below. So the name is going to be the course title, course.title. Then the final one, which I am sure of, is going to be the quantity. Okay, the quantity. That one too is going to be, so by default every course you can't purchase the courses 2 times, so it's just one. Okay, so this price product data is supposed to be inside the price data. Sorry about that. So let me move it in like this. Okay, let me give it a comma over here. Nice one. That solves it. So after we have created the line item for a particular course item, then the next thing that we need to do is append it to the course line item and the cat courses. Okay, so we're going to have a course line item dot append line item, and the next one you are going to append to is the cat courses dot append line item. Okay, all right. Now here we want to return an exception, so we are going to return a response. What response is response with a status equal to status dot http 400. Let's import in those things, okay, before it becomes weird. So let's import. So from REST framework, dot responses, import response. Okay, then from, oh, why is JavaScript trying to come into Python? So from REST framework, oh, what is this framework? Framework the status import status. Oh, sorry, it's not the way I'm supposed to import it. So from REST framework, import status. All right, like this. So this should be solved. Why is it still telling me that's response? Oh, I didn't spell response well. Okay, I spell response well. All right, http 400 bar request. All right, then Okay, so if this thing over here, if this condition over here fails, meaning that we don't have a body, or we don't have anything inside the body, then we need to send an HTTP bad request. Okay, so let's copy this one over here. Let's minimize this whole thing. Oh, sorry. I intended to minimize this instead. So put the if else over here, the else over here, sorry. So if that, we want to return this. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is also check for this part. So we check whether the request has a body. Okay, if it doesn't have a request, it doesn't have a body, we have to return it immediately. All right, so this is it. Then now we know that we have the line items and the course items, so we can go ahead and start our checkout process. So we create a variable called the checkout session. Okay, then it's going to be called stripe.checkout. So we have to go importing Stripe. Let's import Stripe. Import Stripe. All right. So let's call it stripe.checkout. Okay, so stripe.checkout, then stripe.checkout.session session.create. All right, then we are going to pass it some few arguments. The first one is going to be the payment method. Not payment intent, payment underscore method. Okay, that one is supposed to be an array. Then we pass it with card, because you'll be accepting only card payment. Then the next one is going to be line items. Line items, and we are going to pass it with our course line item over here. Okay, hope you guys are following me. And the mode is going to be, I'm going to provide a mode. Oh, where am I spelling? So going to be called payment. All right, and you're going to provide a success URL. Okay, so the success URL is where you want Stripe to redirect your customer after the purchase has been successful. Okay, so let's provide HTTP localhost port 3000. That's where we are going to run our front end, which is going to be NextJS, and it's going to be recorded inside the next video I release. Okay, so slash URL just there. What am I even spelling today? localhost. All right, then the next thing is the cancel URL. So let's say the customer is not able to go through with the payments where they should be redirected to after they have cancelled. Okay, so let's paste the same thing over here. So all right, okay, so now for Stripe to know which particular user is trying to, or which particular store are they checking out of, we need to provide our API key to Stripe, and I'm going to do that one up here. So we're going to do that one with stripe.api key, API key, okay, and set it equal to Stripe API key, which is what you have set up there. So let's leave some space between it. All right, so with that one set, we know that we have Stripe ready. So let's go ahead. So the next thing you are going to do is you are going to create the payment intent. So the moment you create this checkout, you are going to get the payment intent ID. Okay, so store it as intent and call payment intent. So I hit on it, it's going to be auto imported for me up there. All right, so dot objects dot create, then in it you are going to have payment intent ID, sorry, payment intent ID, which is going to be equal to the checkout session, which is this thing over here. If I can spell checkout well, checkout underscore session dot payment intent. All right, the next thing that we need is the checkout ID. That is going to also be on the checkout session dot ID, and the last thing you are going to do is the user, which is going to be equal to request dot user. All right, so with that one done, let's check the model and see that's all the data that we need. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The last thing that we need is the courses, but the courses is a many to many field, so we can't directly populate it over here unless we use this way. So after the intent has been created for us, then we catch it back again, then we add the courses to it, courses dot add, then we are going to provide this courses. Where is the courses? Okay, so it seems you made a mistake. Instead of appending the line item to the cart courses, you are supposed to append courses, or the course. Okay, so let me explain it to you. So this cart line item is what you are going to pass to Stripe, and this cart courses is what you are going to pass to our payment intent model. Okay, so it's going to be a list, so we have to spread it. So with just one asterisk, then you pass courses. All right. Okay, it's saying that can't find courses. Oh no, not courses, cat courses. Did I spell it well? Cat courses. Course. All right, that one works. Okay, so when you are done, we return a response. That has a status. Or let's pass our data first. So we are going to have a key called URL that is going to have the checkout URL. So the link that you are supposed to redirect our customer to so that they make the payment. So checkout session.url. Okay. Guess that is it. Okay, so let's save it. So this is the payment handler. That's what is going to handle the payments. All right, then the next thing that you're going to do is let's add it to our URL. So first you are going to create urls.py file over here. New file, urls.py. So from Django.urls import path. We are going to create a URLs pathing. Okay, we're going to have a path over here. Okay, that is going to go to the root, and the root is going to use the payment handler. Okay, so it's going to be auto imported for me by Visual Studio Code. Then you call the as view on it. Okay, so let's save it. So now you are done with that payment handler. Okay, so the next thing that you are going to do is you are going to create a webhook. So the webhook is going to, so let me explain the idea of webhook to you if you don't know. So after a payment has been successful on the Stripe side, Stripe is wants a way that they will notify our application that this particular user has been able to make payments for this particular course, and this is how much they paid, and some other data. So you provide Stripe with an endpoint that are going to post, that is going to provide a post method for them to hit with that particular data. Okay, so that is what you are going to create. So you are going to start with the view, then we come back to the URLs. Okay, so let's minimize this one over here. Let's create a class called webhook. So API view. Okay, so def post going to take in self, take in request. Okay, just do these two things will do for us. Okay, then we are done. We are going to take in payload. The payload is going to be equals to request dot body. All right, so because it is a post endpoint, so let's say somebody mimics Stripe and posts that data that somebody has purchased this course with this social amount, and that data is not coming from Stripe. How are we going to verify? So we are going to make sure we verify the endpoint, or that data is coming from Stripe themselves and not from somebody that is trying to be malicious on our application. Okay, so this is how we verify it. First, you are going to verify the request headers to see whether it has a particular metadata on it. So request dot method, then we check for the endpoint HTTP Stripe, HTTP Stripe signature, if I can spell. All right, so if it exists on it, that request header is going to have some value in it. So you take it and we store it inside this variable over here. Okay, so you have an event, you create an event called none. Okay, event none, and we are going to do a try catch statement. Use my shortcut. Then we are going to check events, and I'm going to check Stripe dot webhook. So this is how we check or we construct a webhook. So Stripe dot webhook dot construct an event. Construct event. Okay, and the event, you are going to pass it a payload that is equal to our payload over here, the payload that we got from the body. All right, then passing the signature or the signature header. Okay, that's the same thing. So sig header. All right, like this. Then the next thing is the endpoint secret. I'm going to show you how to get the endpoint secret, so don't worry. So the endpoint secret is going to be endpoint secret. That's a variable that I declared up here, but I still I'm going to show you how to get, so don't worry about that. Okay, so when you are done with that, so it is going to construct a webhook and verify that this particular webhook is from Stripe. If it is not from Stripe, it is going to throw an exception over here. So we catch the exception and return a request 401, which is unauthorized. Okay, so let's return ASAP. Let's return a response. Let's return a response of status equal to 401, or sorry, let's use the standard way, status dot http underscore 401 unauthorized, meaning that we don't expect data from you. Okay, so when you have the event, So okay, so with the catching of the exception, you can either catch a stripe specific exception, or you can make it general. So the one that Stripe is going to show is called stripe dot errors dot error dot what's the name, stripe dot error dot signature. Oh, I'm wrong. Coming. Okay, it's called stripe dot error dot signature error. Sorry, signature. Oh, if I can spell signature well, signature verification error, like this. So there's a kind of error, or the error that will be thrown if the request or the payload is not coming from Stripe. Okay, but I just want to make it general. Okay, so I'm just going to take out this part. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so after you have done checking that the event is coming from Stripe, we want to check the event type. So Stripe gives us a lot of events, then we can make decision based on that event. Okay, so the event type. Okay, so we're going to check whether the event type means checkout complete. So if the person is able to go in with the checkout, go through with the checkout or make the payment, you are going to get an event called checkout complete. So event dot checkout dot session dot complete. All right. So when that one is done, we want to get the payment intent from the Stripe data that has been sent to us. So I'm going to get it from Stripe. I said Stripe. Sorry about that. Okay, let us not get the payment intent now. Okay, so let's get to the session. So I'm going to get the event dot data. So Stripe is going to send us some data. Then inside the data, we have a particular field that is called object. The object contains the essential data about our payments data that has been sent from Stripe. Okay, I hope that doesn't confuse you guys. All right, so the next thing that we need is to do a try catch, another try catch again. Okay, so the try inside the try catch statement, that's where you're going to get the intent, the payment intent. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's get the payment intent. Okay, so you're going to get it by creating our own payment intent. Am I saying? I'm even confused. Sorry. Something just crossed my mind. I was supposed to get something within the week. Oh, sorry about that, guys. So we are going to get the payment intent that we stored during the checkout, creating the checkout URL here. Okay, so you are going to get that one. So stripe.checkout.get. So that's why you are using, because of the gets, that's why you are using the try catch statement. Okay, so payment.object.get, payment intent.object.get. Okay, so you are going to use the payment intent ID and the checkout ID. Okay, so first, so those two things are unique items that are given to you by Stripe when you create a checkout. Okay, so it can't be two of them cannot exist inside the database actually. So it's going to be, you're going to get it from the session, which is this thing over here, session dot ID, then the payment. Let's check the model and see how you call it. The payment, we call it payment intent ID. Okay, payment intent ID, that is going to be equals to session dot payment intent. Okay, I think that is it. So let me Control Z, Control Enter. All right, then now if you have the intent, the next thing that we want to do is check whether the intent does not exist. So payment intent does not exist. That is the exception that is going to be thrown if why am I not getting it? I thought my laptop was being slow, but I found out that the problem is that the payment intent that we are using was a payment intent class coming from Stripe. So I think that's where the error is coming from. It's not this one. So let's import our own payment intent. So from payments, no, from, what's the name? From models, import payment intent. Okay, so you see now it's working. So after you have, so if the payment intent doesn't exist, you have to return as usual a response, not response, I don't even know what that means. Response, then you are going to have a status equal to status dot http 400 bad request. Okay, with that one out of the way, so now we have our intent over here. So we have to create our payment objects. I think we have to import payment too, so let's import it in. Auto imported for me by Visual Studio Code, that's why I love it. So object.create, then we are going to pass it some values over here. Then the first one is going to be the payment intent, payment intent, that is going to be equals to this intent over here. All right, then the next thing that I'm going to do is passing the total amount, which is going to be a decimal. So you have to import in decimal, okay, but we are going to pass in session dot amount, okay, session dot amount slash amount total slash 100. If you remember, I told you that Stripe stores the amount in cents, so you have to send it to raw dollars or or the proper format. I don't know how to say it, but not in cents, but the normal dollars. Okay, so let's import in decimal. So from decimal, import decimal. Am I right? All right, that is it. Okay, so after that has been created for us, we return, or we take in the user. So the user is going to be stored on the intent. So intent dot user dot the paid courses. If you remember from the previous videos, we had the paid courses on, or the paid course on the user model. So we add, the intent dot courses dot all, which is going to be, because it's a many-to-many field, that's why you're calling the dot all on it, okay, which is going to return onto us a list of courses objects, so we have to spread it. All right, so when that is done, we return a response of status equals to 200, like this. All right, so this is our webhook done. Okay, so let's add it to our URLs, then start up our application and test it out, see whether it's going to work or it's going to break. Webhook. Okay, because we have the catch-all statement up there, let's send this one up. So this one is going to use our webhook. Okay, so it is imported for us. So .as view. Okay, so let's save it. So now we have our URLs here, but they are not recognized in the application itself. So let's make it recognize it. So go here into the Udemy app. Let's go down to the URLs. Okay, so let's add another one here. Path. It's going to be equal to payment. I can spell payment so up. So include what's the name, and payments let me see whether it was called payments. Payments.urls. Okay, then let's save. All right, with that one done, now we can go ahead and start our testing. So Python 3, I'm adding the 3 because I haven't done some configuration on my machine yet to use Python manage.py start run server. Okay, give it a few seconds to start up, and already we are getting errors. So let's go back into models view. So this over here, supposed to be .model. Let's wait for it to restart. Okay, so you have another error. It says model class does not explicitly. Okay, so let's add it to our installed apps. So all these are minor errors that escaped me. Okay, so inside our installed apps, which is this ones over here, let's add payments. Let's save it. All these errors have been made clear so that you see some of the development errors that you make on your own. I don't want to edit them out. Okay, so with our, so you can now see that our server is now running. Okay, so I'm going to use my favorite testing tool, which is you all know, a standard client. All right, so let's go here. It seems I have some collection already. All right, so I have a collection over here. So first I'm going to get all the courses and see. So where is it? Let's use this one, page endpoint. See whether it's going to work. Fingers crossed. Hope there's no errors. Okay, and it is working. Lovely. Okay, I want to grab a course session, a course UUID. Take it like this. Then we are going to add another. Sorry, sometimes this thing becomes weird. Add a new request, then call it purchase a course. We're going to go to HTTP localhost port 8. What port is it running on? Port 8000. That's Django 8000 / payment, and it's going to be a post. Okay, and inside there you need a body. Okay, so let's try sending it without the body and see what you are going to get. We have an internal server error. That is strange. Okay, so this thing is common in Django. It's saying it has to append a trailing slash or set this one by default. So I missed this one over here. Okay, so you can see it returned to us a foreign, I said foreign, a bad request, a 400 bad request error. Okay, so you see we didn't send any request body. Okay, so let's do that. Let's send a request body now. Okay guys, so let's use this data. Let's use this. Okay, so you can pause it and get these values. No, use your own values because you are going to have different IDs. Okay, sorry. And when you send it, let's fingers crossed. Oh, we get an internal server error. Let's check where the error is coming from. Okay, so the error is saying that the message here says byte object has no read lines, has no attribute read. Okay, and it's coming from the JSON load inside load. So instead of using load, it's not supposed to be load, it's supposed to be loads. So if you are using load, you pass in a byte object, but if you are using load, you can pass in a string or a byte object. Okay, so let's save it. Let's wait for the server to restart. Okay, so our server has restarted. Now let's try again and see what you are going to get. Okay, now you have another bigger problem. It's saying that stripe.error.authentication error. It says no API key provided. Hence, set your API key using the stripe.api key, and I know where that is coming from. Okay, so that one is related to my PC. So after we set our API key over here, so this one over here is supposed to read the environment, read for the value from the environment variable and store it inside this variable over here, then pass it to the Stripe API over here. But I have not updated my environment variable, so I have to close this thing over here. Close it. Then what's the name? Control L. Then we are going to source in our .env file. If I don't do that, it's not able to read it. It's a problem related to my machine. Okay, so sorry about that. Then now let's run the server again. Okay, with our server up, let's go and try it out once more. Let's hit it. Let's wait, and we get an invalid API provided. That's weird, and because I don't have anything provided inside my .env file. Where is it? .env file. API goes here. Sorry about that. It's not intentional to delay you guys. Okay, so let me populate in, and let's. Okay, guys. So I have populated in with my Stripe secret key. So let me clear the terminal and source in my .env file again. Then let's run the server once again. This time around, fingers crossed, I know it's going to work. Okay, our server is up. Let's send a request once again. Hope no errors. Oh. Okay, so you see you're getting some error over here. Say unknown parameter type. Did you mean payment method types? Okay, so let me reference for my notes I have over here. So it's supposed to be a second. Where did I put it? It's supposed to be payment method types as they are stated over here. So let's go back to our view. Sorry. So this is to give you an overview that I am not I also make mistakes, and you reference from the Stripe documentation. Okay, so payment method types. All right, so let's go. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Let's try again. Oh, what are they? What do they want again? Oh, really? Can't you see that's what I want? Payment method types. Okay, final. And no. Okay, so now you see the error that I get. Say cannot assign anonymous user because the authentication has not yet been done. Sorry about that, guys. So we are going to use one user that I've created already. So where is it? Let's go. So let's use user dot objects dot get the user with the ID equals to 1. So it says user is not found. So let's import in user. We're going to take it out later, very soon. So from users dot models import user. Let's save it. Go back over here. Let's wait for our server to restart. Okay, it's done. Let's hit once again. This time around, no shaking. It's going to work. I just got an internal server error again. What is it? No such table as payment intent. Oh, why is today full of errors? Let's check this place. Oh, okay. So the problem is because we have not made migration. So if you read it here, it says no such table payment intent. So it should give you the idea that the migrations has not yet been done. So the table does not exist inside the DB. So let's close it. Let's close this thing over here. Okay, so let's make the migration. So Python 3 manage py make migrations. Okay, the migrations have been made for us. So now let's migrate. Py migrate. Okay, let's wait for it to migrate. Okay, so the migrations have been done. Now let's run our server. Okay, this is the final of the final of the finalist. This is the final one. This time around I am sure and I am very sure it's gonna work. Okay, so let's go here. Sorry, yeah, then hit here. So you get an error. It has no attributes called courses. Let's check this thing. This thing, I can't think. I'm tired of these errors. It's a course. I should have made it courses instead of course. So let's make it course. Let's save it. This testing is taking a lot more than I expected.
Wow.
Okay, so let's make another request. Okay, so you see this time around it works. Let me close down this terminal over here. It gives us this URL over here, so let's try open it. Let's grab everything, copy it, then let's paste it over here. So this URL will be returned to the front end, and the front end makes a redirect to this place. So you see we get the name of the course over here, the name of the course and how much it costs. All right, so you provide in your card details, then shoop, you are done with the payment. So let's use Stripes testing 4747474747. Oh, sorry, not my email. Let's say gh@gh.com. So 4747. Oh, 474 474. Ah, 4747474747. I hate this thing. Four seven. Okay, when you're done, come here with Jwt. Provide any four numbers. Card. Country Ghana. Then click on pay. No thanks. Say this card was declined. The request was in test mode, but you use a non-test card. Okay, so let's check on Stripes API docs. That's 4747. Oh, it's 42 instead. Sorry. 424242. 42424242424242. Okay, so let's make the payment again. Processing. Voila. Then you see I return to the localhost 3000 that we provided. Okay, so that is it. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to work on the webhook. Okay, so with the webhook, when you go to Stripes documentation, this one, I'm going to leave the link below. So you go about after payments, go to the fulfillment. That is going to show you how to set up a webhook. Okay, so it's going to, when you come to the documentation, it's going to teach you how to do the setup. So this is it. So this is it. So it provides you the API key over here. Then create a webhook. That's what you have already done. But the part that is important to us is the webhook. Starting up the webhook, okay, or the webhook terminal. So this is it. You are going to do a listing, a Stripe listing that's forward to the webhook endpoint on our server. Then you go ahead and make a payment, then verifying the webhook. Okay, so when you start the server, we start the webhook, it's going to give us the webhook terminal, it's going to give us a secret, then we are going to use to populate over here. That's how. Then we go ahead and test it. So I think that's it. It's quite self-explanatory. So let's go back. So I have Stripe already on my machine. So when you go up here, it's going to show you how to install Stripe on your machine. Where is it? This is it. So if you want the installation guide, just click here and it's going to take you to the installation process. Okay, it's very simple. So first, this is so stripe.listen.dash-forward to localhost port 8000/payments/webhook, because that's where my endpoint, that's the endpoint that I'm using to listen to the webhook. Okay, so let's hit enter. Okay, so it gives me a webhook secrets. Copy it, shift, copy it. So this one I'm going to blur it out, okay, because it's secret. Then I go into my views file. Where is it? Views. By the views file up here. I can directly place it here or put it in an environment variable, but to make it easy for me, I'm going to directly put it here. Okay, there is it. So but I'm going to blur it out. All right, then I save it. And I save it, the server is supposed to restart. Okay, so with that one done, now let's send a request to get a new payment done. So okay, so now you have, let me close this thing over here, copy it, then go back to our URL. I said our URL, Chrome. Oh god, I'm so exhausted. Okay, so let's test with h. Let's go 424242424242424242. And you give it any year that is in the future. Any value, leave. Then finally hit enter. No thanks. Processing. When it is done, our webhook here is supposed to get something. Nothing. Nothing. Okay, it seems there's something. Something is not working somewhere. Okay, let me go back to the documentation. The documentation is always your friend. Why are we not getting it? That's weird. Okay guys, so I've been able to find out where the error is coming from. So let me close this thing down. Okay, so the problem was that I haven't logged in, so it was not able to find out the current shop that I've created. So to log in, just do Stripe login, then hit enter. It's going to help you, just going to tell you to hit the enter button again to open up the browser to log in. Okay, so I've done that already, so I'm going to start up my Stripe webhook listener. So this is it, then you hit enter. So wait for it to start. Okay, so after you have logged in, you are going to be given an updated what's the name, an updated webhook listener. I just saw that this thing changed, so I can leave it, and I'm even going to delete the shop, so don't bother to use it. So this is, so you take this secret over here, or that key, then you pass it over here as a endpoint secret. Okay, so when you are done with that, it is not going to work offhand, so there are some changes that we have to make. Okay, so first you are going to change this webhook constructor. So the constructor, if you look at the documentation here, it expects secret, not endpoint secret, so you are going to get errors if you go ahead with that. So let's take out this one. Okay, nice one. That's the first one. The second one is that this thing over here, the intent.user.paid courses, it is not paid, it's not paid course, it's supposed to be paid courses. Okay, and the intent object does not have courses, it has course.all. So that's the third one. Then the last one is that you have to return something even if the event is not checkout.session.completed, and this one too, before it was complete, it's supposed to be completed. Okay, the event type. Then so let's return a catch all, return. All right, so might hear some background noise, please forgive me for that. All right, so when you are done with that, you can save. I think that is good for now. Let's save it. If you get any error, we will debug it together. So let's go and make a request to get an endpoint to make our payments. So before that, let me open our what's the name, the admin panel. Do we even have localhost port 8000? I see I've been doing a lot of some React stuff, and I have some NextJS projects coming on for you guys. It's massive projects, massive. Okay, so let's log in. So if you, I think I have an admin already, so admin.admin.com, then the password is admin. Let me log in. I hope it's works. Oh, it's not working. So let's go and create an admin. So Python 3 manage.py create super user. So let's use a@a.com. Hey, okay, there, I think that's the pass, that's the admin. Let's try that one and see. a@a.com. Okay, that's it. Okay, so before we go ahead, let's add our payments and payment intent to, what's the name, the admin, sorry. So it is the admin. So admin.site.register. We are going to pass it payment intent. We're going to have to import it ourselves since Visual Studio is taking models.import payment intent. Then let's import payment too. Alright, let's copy this one down. Let's take off the intent. Alright, save it, go back again, refresh. Give some time before we refresh again. Let's try. Hey, our server might be down by all means. Okay, so let's go back to us restarting. Okay, so now we have our intent over here. So let's check our payment. Okay, so you see I've done some testing myself, so let me clear all of them. Go. I am sure. Why not? So you can see we have no payment object over here. So now let's go ahead and generate a new checkout. Let's close this terminal. Takes an amount of time. It's probably because of my internet is a bit slow. Then let's grab that, copy it. Then let's go back, enter it over here, paste, then go forward. This is probably going to be our last test if you don't have any errors. Okay, so when it is loaded, let's go ahead and pass in our email.com. Then we are using the test data, so 42424242 before it starts to full. 42424242. Okay, 5. Okay, then let's give some name, random name, then let's hit save. So let's check our webhook and see whether, okay, so you can see we have gotten some 200 over here. So let's go back to our payments object over here. Let's refresh. Okay, so you can see we have one over here, and this is it. It is for payment intent 8. And let's check the user. The user might probably have a lot of that same course. That's it. Let's and see the course has been added to the course, the users paid courses. Alright guys, so we are done with the payments integration with Stripe. The next thing that we are going to do is handle the authentication with this wonderful, lovely package called Jwt. It is simply amazing. It makes the authentication flow like perfect. I really love it. So this is the application that you are going to use. Okay, so let's jump into it. Okay guys, so it is time for us to implement Jwt in our application. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is the docs is our best friend to go. So let's go to the getting started page. Okay, so we see some documentation. The docs are great, super great. Okay, so you should check it out. I'm going to leave the description, the link in the description below. Alright, so first you need to install the package here. So pip install. So you copy it, you go to your terminal, okay, this is it. Okay, so I've already installed it, so but I'm just going to pass it through for you guys. So you paste it over here, then just hit enter. I've already done that, so I won't do that again. Okay, then the next thing that you need to do is that we are going to use the Jwt. So you pip install this one too as well. Okay, the Django Restframework _ simple Jwt. Okay, so when that is done, we are not going to use the social auth, so you can bypass that. When you are done, we add Jwt to our what's the name, our installed apps. So set our settings.py file. You can close down this terminal, move up here, set installed apps, then let's add it to our third-party apps, paste it over here. All right, then we save it. Then we can let's close some of these things over here. Let's close this ones. Let's close this one too. Or can go away for the meantime. All right, so have a clean work area. All right, so the next thing we are supposed to do is we are supposed to add this part over here. They are using URLs, but you are going to change it to path, which is the current one. Okay, so to our urls.py file, where the main one, so we go here, then we add it over here. Okay, change this one to a path, take off this one, this R, take off this what's the name, caret sign, then we save. Okay, then the next thing that we need to do is we are going to, sorry about that, we go back to the what's the name, the docs, then we go to settings, because we want to use the Jwt endpoint. So let's go to Jwt endpoint. Okay, so these are the Jwt endpoints, but let's go to settings. I want to check something. Okay guys, so instead of going to the settings, go to the authentication backend instead. Okay, authentication backend instead, or authentication backends. Okay, so when you go there, the one we want to use is, you don't want to use the JSON backend, you want to use the JSON web tokens, not the token based authentication. I want to use JSON web tokens, that's the JWT. Okay, so for us to be able to use it, we are first supposed to add the REST framework .jwt authentication. This is going to be our default authentication class. Okay, so let's go into our setting.py file. I didn't copy it because in the first video I placed some commented scripts below. Okay, so I'm going to reveal it step by step. Okay, so this is the first one, and I'm going to make sure I explain each one of them before I comment it. Okay, so this one is going to make some changes to how our REST framework behaves. So this is the default authentication class. So this is supposed to take a tuple of authentication classes that are going to be used to authenticate the request that comes in. Okay, so the default authentication class is this one, but we can add different authentication classes which can be used to verify authenticate our request. Okay, so but we are using this one, just one for the meantime. So it is REST framework framework simple jwt authentication jwt authentication. All right, so the next thing that we are supposed to do, we are following the docs, nothing out of my head. So the next one is we will configure our REST framework jwt to use the jwt token, the access token here and the header, like inside our header. So in a normal request you write bearer, sometimes you can do it bearer, then you'll provide your access token inside the authentication header. Okay, so this says we should use this one. So this word can be any word that you want. Okay, so I usually use tokens, so that's what I provided over here. So let me uncomment this one. So ours is going to be inside the JavaScript code. It's going to be so let's say you are doing a fetch. So let's say you have a fetch like this, and you have an endpoint that goes to / some endpoints. Some endpoints like this. Then we provide another method. We provide the method over here, and you see the method is post, and we provide header. Oh, sorry. Oh, what's going on? So we provide headers over here. Then we are going to have something like what's the name? Authorization. Then here is where I'm going to provide the token. So token. Then our access code goes here. Those gibberish pattern over here. So it's going to be something like this. Okay, so token access. You leave a space, then the access token follows. Right? Hope you guys get what I'm trying to say. So let's take out this JavaScript from here. All right. So with that one done, let's save it. Okay, so when you are done, you are supposed to add this URL to our urls.py file. This one already seems it's already there. That's what you place there first. But let's copy put to be on the safer side. Okay, both are there. But let me place it below so I can take away this one because they're the same. So we can take away this path, change it to a path, take out this regular expression, and take out this caret sign. Okay, so we are using this two over here. Then we save it. You see how simple it is to use JOSA. Very, very simple. Okay, then let's go back to the, we are done with this then. Okay, but let's go back into my code. sorry, not this. Okay, so let's go back to the settings. So inside the settings, I have some few configurations that I've made. So in Jwt, we can customize the behavior of the Jwt package. Okay, so the only behavior that I customized was the serializer. So when you log in or when you sign up a user, Jwt is supposed to return to you some data. So the data, usually they have their own way of serializing the data. So they send you a request, they send you a response that contains the email and the ID of the user. I don't like that one, so I'm changing it to users.serializer.user user auth serializer, which has not yet been created. It will create it very soon. And the current user. So when you hit the endpoint /user/me, you are going to get the details about the current user, which is going to be their ID and their email, which I don't like. It is very simple, so I don't like that. I'm going to customize it for my use. So this is just the only thing that I changed. Okay, so the next thing that is added over here, let me take away this part. This part is not needed. Okay, so the last part, which is the course allow origin and CSRF trusted origins. Okay, so course means cross origin. What? I forget it. Cross origin. Let's go and search for it. I always forget this thing. Cross origin resource something. I forget. I forgotten. Cross origin resource sharing. Okay, so it allows communication to exist between our front end and the back end, because they are both running on different different ports. Even though they'll all be running on local hosts. They'll be running on the separate port, which will prevent calls. Which calls will prevent. So we have to allow calls between those two applications. Okay, or else they won't be able to share resources. Okay, resources mainly being the response request. Okay, or request response pattern. So you can go to Mozilla. It gives some in-depth explanation about the whole thing about calls. Okay, so please make some time and read it. Don't be like me. That will usually forget. I usually remember these two parts. The last part I always forget. Okay, so please learn it for me. So in Django we use Django course or Django course header to handle courses. Let me take away this thing. So course headers or course headers Django. Let's search for it over here. And it's very simple to implement. So if you haven't installed it, you will have to install it, and when you are done, you just add it to your installed applications. So this is how you install it. I've already installed it on my machine, so I don't need to install it again. Then you grab this thing over here, add it to your installed apps. So let's go up. Let's put it over here. Let's save it. Then the next thing that you need is you need to add these two things. I said these two things. This middleware. Okay. So a middleware is, just as the name says, middleware. It's a function that runs between the request and response cycle. So it determines whether a response should be a request should be aborted or a response should be returned. Okay, that might not be the full thing, but it should give you some idea about what middlewares do. So this middleware is going to allow communication between our front end, that is on a separate server and a separate port, to hit our back end and response to be sent back as well. So let's add it. Usually it's supposed to be anywhere above this one, Django middlewares.common middleware. So you can put it here. Alright, let's save it. When you are done, let's go down so I explain to you some things. So course, usually you can make course available to every what's the name, every domain or port, but usually you want to constrict it if it is not a public API. Okay, so you state the course, the origins that are allowed to hit your endpoint and also get responses from them. Okay, and one thing to keep in mind that course only works in the browser. So let's say you are using something like Postman or Thunder clients to test our API, we do not have any problem with course. Okay, so let's save it. So we are trusting this. We are making sure that only these two domains or two origins have access to our backend. So anyone that tries to access it outside this one, inside the browser, is going to get a course pre-flight error. Then let's come to the CSRF trusted origins. Okay, so usually Django requires that you have a CSRF token on every post request and a put request. Usually those that distract, so a put patch, those things should have a CSRF token with it. So because we are doing it in React, we can't use Django's native CSRF token tag inside there. So we have to exempt some origins from providing what's the name, CSRF tokens. Okay, so that's how we exempt them. We provide them in the CSRF trusted origins. So you save it. All right. So this is it. So the last thing that I want us to do is create the user, the user auth serializer that I talked about. This one, the one we use for the JOSA serializers. Okay, so inside the user app, create a new file called serializers.py. It says it has it already. Let's go and look for what is already in that file. I don't even remember creating that, but it seems you have worked on something like that already. Okay. We created a serializer for our author and other stuff. So, okay. So let's add it. So we are going to have a class called user auth serializer that is going to inherit from model serializer. All right. Then you are going to have a class meta. Okay, so inside our class method, we are going to specify our model. Our model is going to be the user class. Sorry, it's supposed to be equal to. Then we specify the field that we want on the user class. Okay. Then how do you go about it? We are going to provide the name, the field that we want here, the name of the fields we want. So we take the name, we take in the ID, we take in the courses which do not exist on the current user model, but you are going to define it on here. Okay, I'll teach you how to do that. Then we provide the email too. All right, you know you can't send the password. All right, so the courses that do not exist, so you are going to define it over here, and you are going to get it by serializer dot list field. Okay, so let's import in serializer. So from REST framework, import serializers. serializers dot list field. Okay, then okay, so this serializer dot list field, okay, so it is saying that this thing over here, this what's the name, attribute or field that we have provided over here is going to be a field that contains a list, so something like this, okay. But you have to tell this serializer where it is going to get the data to populate for this list, okay. So that's what you are going to do. So we do that by providing a source over there. Then we set it to a method that exists on the user model. So get all courses. Okay, then we save it over there. All right, then let's go and check something on the user model and see whether we have that particular method. If you don't have it, you have to create it. This is it. Okay, so you see over here that we have get all courses over here. So get all courses returns, it has to return what's the name, a list. Okay, so first we create a list, then we, for courses itself, the courses paid courses dot all, then we loop over it, then we append the what's the name, the course UID to the list. But if it doesn't have any courses, it will still send a list, which is an empty list. All right, so now what do we do? Let's take the authentication. Then we are done. We protect some of our views, so we can close some of this one, close some of this, close this, close this too. We are going to leave this one. No, we will create a new one, so let's even close that one. So let's open our views and put them down so that we know what we are going to do next. Open the view for the courses, open the view for what's the name, for payment. And what again, what do we have? The users, you don't have any views, so it's just those two views. Okay, so we are going to test the login and the sign up. Then when we are done, we are going to try and see whether, when we are done, we will protect our endpoint and test whether the authentication is going to work, unless you provide the access keys. So let's go to our favorite guy over here. Let's go to our collection. Let's create a new request. These guys, somebody have to tell them that the extension keeps playing with me. I have to scroll up or down before see that you see it is hidden behind the bar. Sometimes annoying. Then new request. So login. All right, so let's go to the endpoints over here so that you guys don't see that oh, why did I where is Josa is here. All right, let's go to the base endpoint. So you see you have base endpoints, token as a token endpoint, then Jwt endpoint, but you'll be using the base endpoint and the token endpoint. Okay, so let's go to, what's the name, user is going to give us each user that is logged in. So each endpoint has been explained. The method is here, the request, what the request need or request body needs, then this over here, the response that you get. So we are going to test login. So where is login? This is user create. no, 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 no. Seems the login is going to be here at the JWT side. Okay. Okay, so if you want to log in, you go to JWT create to log in to create a JWT. All right, that's why we are using JWT. So let's copy this endpoint. Let's go to http://localhost port 8000 slash auth slash this. Okay, then it needs post. Okay, then per the request, you see what it says here. It says the username field and the password. All right, let's go back. So inside our body, we're going to provide a JSON that has the email of a@a.com, comma, then you have a password, that's admin. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's hope this thing works. Hit it, and you're in suspense. Beautiful. You see, we have a the most simplest authentication flow ever. Now we have our access token over here and our login token over here. So let's use this access token quickly and see whether we can get the current user. So auth/user/me. Okay, then we go, let's look at the endpoint. That's base endpoint. Hope it's fast before this thing expires. It says /me/me/me. It's a get request. Okay, let's do that. Get, then let's clear this thing over here. Let's clear this. Then we go here, because you are using this, it's automatically attached the bearer or the token for us. So let's just paste our okay, so let's paste it over here. Then let's send our request and see whether it's going to work. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so we are supposed to add this thing, I'm sure. Wonderful. That's weird. /users. I'm sure it has expired by now. Okay, but you see, we are getting authentication has expired. Let's get a new one. I just want to test it for you guys. JWT/create. Should have created a new one. Don't worry. The next one, we are going to create a new whatever. Let's take out this. Let's put in, what's the name, the email, which is going to be ia@a.com. Password, that is going to be admin. My brain is, before we do that, let's create the endpoint to check the current user. Oh, see, it has gone up. Oh, I hate this thing. Let's call it current user. Okay. Oh, really? going to override the data. Wow, look how it had wasted energy. Email, what's the name? a@a.com. Password. Admin. Wonderful. Okay, sorry, I'm going to the wrong endpoint. What's the name? Jwt/create. It's not supposed to be a get, which is true. Beautiful. Now let's get this once. Copy them. Let's go to the current user one. Before we go ahead, let's post this thing over here. Let's paste it over here. Then we go to http://localhost ports 8000/users/me. Oh, supposed to have the auth over here. Oh, I hope we don't expire this thing. /me. Wonderful. That's expired already. That's sad. Let's log in again. Let's get. I don't want to refresh. I just want to grab the data. This thing is too slow. Really? Why? Oh, this thing is fresh. That is weird. Let me check something over here. Let me check the documentation. Okay guys, so I have been able to find the solution. So for some weird reason, this guy wasn't appending the token or the bearer to it, so it wasn't able to do it. So the way to do it is to use the HTTP headers directly over here. So let's go in and log in. Let's log in again. Let's grab our access token, copy it, then let's go to our create current user endpoint. So we go to the headers, then over here, let me take out this one and show you how I did it. So you come here, you give the header that you are adding, which is authorization, and as I told you, it is token here. Then you leave one space, then you provide the access token, then you hit your enter, you send the command. Now you see we get the details about our current user with the token that was provided. This is it. You get the name as admin, this, and this. Okay, just as the serializer that we specified. For the rest, like creating a new user and the other stuff, when you start the front end, we are going to utilize that thing, so you are going to understand those ones. But it's very simple. Just look at the documentation and the data that is requested. Just that. So like creating the user, you need the password, and the password repeated if it's only required if. So as you can see, Josa is very simple to use. It's very intuitive, and the documentation is superb. Just go through and So the rest you are going to see them in action when we start the NextJS. So let's go into our views and protect some of the endpoints that are not supposed to be reached if we are not logged in. Okay, the first one we are going to protect, we can't protect the webhook, but we are checking to see that the request is coming from Stripe. Okay, so other ones are discarded away. So the first one I'm going to protect is the what's the name, payments handler. So when you are not logged in, you are not supposed to be able to request for what, login, to request for a redirect URL to purchase something. Okay, even though on the front end you are going to make it to require the login before purchasing can be made, so you don't worry, but you want to protect both sides, the front and the back too. So we are going to use the permission classes. So the permission class, you are going to use the is authenticated. Okay, so let's import is authenticated from REST framework dot permission import is authenticated. It's authenticated like this. All right, so just that endpoint. So we are done with this one. So let me open this. So let's close this one too. All right, so the endpoint that we are going to protect over here is, we are not going to protect the home view because we want it to be available to everyone. The next one is that we are not going to protect this course detail one because everybody is supposed to be able to see the detail of a particular course. The next one, we won't protect this one too as well because it's supposed to be available to everyone to be able to see the courses in a particular sector. We won't protect this one also, the searching of a course, but we have to protect this endpoint for users only, for logged in users only, for them to be able to add a comment to a course. So let's do that. So permissions classes. So permission classes, then we are going to set it to a list that is going to be is authenticated. So authenticated, I hit on tap, then it will be auto imported for me by VS Code. Okay, or it hasn't yet imported it. Okay, it has been imported. You can see the colors on. Okay, but here you see I left out a to do over here. So here we're getting the author fixed in a fixed manner, then adding the user to it, but it is not safe to do that. So we are going to get the user from the request.user. So how should I even, okay, so I'm going to take out these two lines out, then I will uncomment this one. Okay, this time it's going to work. So let's save it, and it seems we get the user manually somewhere. I think that's it. Then inside the course cart detail. You're supposed to be able to get the cards only when, even if you are not logged in, you're supposed to be able to get the cards. Let me check something. Okay, so I just verified this endpoint does not need to be protected. So because you just want, if you want to check the cards, you don't, but when you want to purchase, then you need to be logged in. All right, so let's minimize this one, and we are going to use, if you want to study a course, we should know that you are logged in, so I'll be able to check which particular user is logged in. Okay, so permission classes is authenticated. It's authenticated, and you see here you are getting the class, the user in a fixed way. So this request the user. Okay, so let's take out this line. You see we're modifying the request for us to get the user on it, but by default it's going to be on its request the user. Then we add the other things. So that's the only line. Take off, then we save it. So we protected only 2 routes: watching the, studying the course, and adding comment to the course. The rest are free to all. Okay, so with that out of the way, we can take out this one because we will not be using it. Yes, with that out of the way, I can say that, I can boldly say that we are done with the back end for our Udemy clone. The next video we are going to focus on the front end. So we start with the login, sign up, then we go to the home page, then we go to the course detail and the other parts, watch the videos, add comments, and those functionalities. And as usual, we are going to use NextJS, which is a React framework. It's super amazing. It's an amazing framework, so kindly keep your dial locked. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're an old member, please make sure you like the video, share it to your friends. Okay, please do that. Okay, motivate me. All right, thank you and bye. See you in the next video.